Welcome everybody to the Sunset Flip Wrestling Podcast, your home for all wrestling, everything wrestling. What's up, fellas? What's going on?
What's up? What's good?
What's going on?
Let's get right into this. There's a lot to break down, a lot to get a hold of. So, Soto, I leave this to you.
Yeah, I mean, we took a little break, no episode last week, but there's been a lot of news in the wrestling world these past 2 weeks, especially last week, actually. But let's start with
you were in wrestling school at Albany, right? Learning how to do suplexes and
you know,
everybody.
It's things like that. You know,
everybody was busy.
That was supposed to be a secret, Henry. Let's start with one of the things most talked about last night: the promo between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. This new deadly alliance. Something that a lot of people didn't think would happen. We did mention it on
the happen.
Yeah, we did mention it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. We were like,
I think you mentioned it more than anybody, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they paired up Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And fast forward, here we are, right?
Homelander Cody incoming.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't mind that. But what did you guys truly think of the promo?
I mean, I like the symbolism with them doing it at Georgia Tech Stadium, and it being in Georgia and everything like that, and sort of like not doing it live. I think that was a good thing. I felt like just the overall feel of the promo and the look of the promo seemed like sort of like movie-ish quality.
Yeah, it was intense.
It was intense. It was intense, but it was good. Very intense, but it was very good. I love the overall feel for it. At the end of the day, you get two guys that are basically the faces of WWE, and obviously you see the competitiveness. And obviously they teased another match between them, so I did like the subtleties with that, and it sort of foreshadowed the direction they're going with Roman. With obviously he said they took out Jimmy, and he mentioned Paul Heyman. He's not going to throw those two names out there for no reason. So I mean, they're incoming soon. So there was so much to digest from that. It was so much in that one promo.
Yeah, and basically, Cody Rhodes was the only thing he asked for before each other, before they each went personal on each other. But the only thing that Cody Rhodes had asked for was, for Roman to give him his word and to have his back. And of course, Roman responded, "I give you my word, I'll have your back, but just understand this: when it's all done, I'm taking back what's mine." So that leads me to believe that yes, Roman will have Cody Rhodes' back at Bad Blood. But I think they're going to run it back possibly. What's the paper event after? I think it's in Saudi Arabia, right?
Probably in Saudi Arabia. I don't see Crown Jewel.
Yeah,
that is the rumor. Yes, I think it is. I think it is Crown Jewel. I think that is the rumor that it's going to be run back at Crown Jewel. We have two pay-per-views in November, correct? We have Crown Jewel and then we have Survivor Series, right?
Survivor Series is at the end. That's like Thanksgiving.
We don't get a pay-per-view in December. We never have.
I'll check for you right now.
I don't think we never have. I think we get the Tribute to the Troops, which they pre-shoot early in the month, and then I think we usually get like the day one or typical whatever they name the pay-per-view. So I think we go from there. So I'm not too sure if we're getting the December pay-per-view, but I know next year WWE is planning on tuning down live events, so that might be we might get more pay-per-views.
War Games on the 30th, so it's literally at the very. So that's basically the December pay-per-view, being on November 30th, and that's the one's going to carry out through the rest of December up until.
And speaking of War Games, it's actually creeping up pretty fast. And a lot of people are starting to get worried because when we talked about War Games, right? A lot of people thought, all right, we might be getting a new bloodline versus the OG bloodline. But then a lot of fans as of late are saying, damn, what if we don't get the old bloodline back together? What if it's like Roman, Cody, Kevin Owens, and let's say DIY? Like a lot of people already, worried at the fact that might possibly happen.
Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, this is still a lot. WWE The good thing about WWE is there's a lot of they learn how to pack a lot of things in a short amount of time, and people forget about things that go on beforehand or after the fact. So we didn't like the good thing about this feud now is that they're going to unite, but they still don't like each other. But there's mutual respect, right, between Cody and Roman. So WWE is doing a great job of putting two powerhouses together, as we've done in the past with a variety of wrestlers. We've seen this with Austin and Triple H. We've seen it with Austin and Michaels. We've seen this with Cena and Cena and Michaels. Like everybody's feuding with each other.
We got a lot of debuts just in all the
But
brands in general that haven't happened yet too. So
but they've just teamed up for a time being. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have this going on one side, and then they're gonna backdoor us with something else, and the next thing they're gonna get what we wanted, or you get something even better. So hopefully it's everybody's expecting the Bloodline versus Bloodline 1 versus Bloodline 2. We could see that, or they might backdoor something else and put that into the wrinkle, another thing into the wrinkle to the mix.
I think we're still going to get Bloodline 1 versus Bloodline 2. I think that's the plan. It should be the plan. In the promo, like I said, when they mentioned about Jimmy and Paul Heyman, that's not something you toss out there without having something planned. And I think coming up to Bad Blood, which is in October, I think those seeds are going to finally come to
you got plenty of time.
Yeah, there's still time. There's still time. But
don't forget, we still got another debut coming soon for another.
But Henry just mentioned debut, so let's get to the next topic.
Debuts.
Yeah, a bunch of them. The Motor City Machine Guns reportedly seems to be WWE bound.
They're going right to NXT.
Yeah, according to Pro Wrestling Nexus, they've reported that both Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin are heading towards the WWE. And I think this week, so they were the first ones to report it, and then Fightful Select confirmed that the duo are officially signed to WWE, and their first stop will be NXT, which is really exciting. I think for the Motor City Machine Guns, exactly. Even like as tag champs, and then if you want to split them up, because they both had great individual careers in TNA.
Right, the writing is on the wall. Obviously, unfortunately, Fraxam is going to lose to them when they debut, because we know that's what's going to happen. Once they're not going to have the Motor City Machine Guns debut and not win the gold.
Right.
Same thing with Julia. They're building her up slowly, obviously. And
I think with reports having that they will debut on NXT, one can only imagine if
I wish they kept their old theme though, man.
Yeah, one can only imagine if their debut happens on the premiere episode of NXT on the CW.
I think that's the rumor from what I've heard for a while. It is NXT on CW is the rumor I've heard that they're going to debut.
It's already a stacked show as it is. Like Randy Orton's having a match.
That match, by the way,
because Javon Evans, that match is gonna be fire.
I already see Randy Orton catching Javon Evans with RKO midair. So it's gonna be how they execute that move.
CM Punk.
But CM Punk is gonna be there, and then all these title matches, right, with Ethan Page versus Trick Williams. You have Julia against Roxanne Perez.
I could see CM Punk working with NXT for a long term in the future, and maybe having some sort of role like with Shawn Michaels, because I've gone on to see him that he said he loves NXT and what they are, and he really wants to.
And even after the show, he stood like 30 minutes after, like taking pictures with fans and whatnot, which is
Shawn
great.
Michaels. And apparently him and Shawn Michaels are like very close.
Yeah,
just the rumor. So like that would be interesting in the future to see them run NXT together. I would be all for it.
But
a lot of patches been healed. A lot of bad blood has been no pun intended. A lot of bad blood has been secured over the years, especially since Punk coming back. He just right the wrongs with a lot of people. Shawn Michaels being one of the first ones to do so.
Right. Yeah. And just going back to the Motor City Machine Guns, like, listen, I'm a huge fan of them, and I've been following them, especially during the early years of TNA wrestling. So
I'm just disappointed they're going to get Death Rebels, unfortunately, but Death Rebels on their way out, so I'm not really worried about that too much longer.
But no, again, this is a huge addition for NXT because
wrestling in general. It's
exactly.
huge.
And speaking of tag team wrestling, we have another tag team heading towards the WWE, and that would be the Lucha Bros. So reports broke out
the main roster.
Yep. Reports broke out this week that the Lucha Bros are reportedly signed a multi-year deal with WWE, and there's no NXT stop here. They're going straight to the main roster, like B said, and I don't necessarily. Well, I don't know.
I don't think they wanted to do NXT, but I think if they've been around the wrestling business for a while, they've been pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So I think them sort of going the Jade Cargo route of going to the main roster is not going to really hurt them much. Right. We already know how they are in the ring. It's just if they're going to sort of like speak on their own and do promos and different things like that. So that's the thing I'm interested about to see.
Yeah, and we've seen the types of matches that the Lucha Bros wrestled in AEW, right? Exactly. Right. In AEW, right, against the Young Bucks and other tag teams. But now you get a scenario where you have the Lucha Bros, right, against, let's say the Usos, against the Bloodline, against the Street Profits, right? Against DIY. So there's a lot of dream matches you can put together for the Lucha Bros. One thing for me is I hope the Lucha Bros stay absolutely the fuck away from the LWO.
That's what a lot of clans are clamoring.
Please stay away from the LWO.
They don't want them in Legado, and they don't want them in LWO.
I just feel like they'll just get lost. Similar to Dragon Lee, which I hope Dragon Lee leaves the LWO as quickly as possible and just,
can I say something about Dragon Lee? When he came into WWE, his fucking presentation and his fucking theme were goated.
Right.
And I don't know why they changed it, but it was A1, bro. Like the presentation and everything was A1.
But at the same time, you can have Lucha Bros by themselves, or you can have Dragon Lee eventually join up with the Lucha Bros. That would be pretty cool too. But yeah, the fact is the Lucha Bros signed with WWE, heading towards the main roster now. It's just a matter of time. When do they plan on executing the debut? So I ask you guys, when do you think would be a perfect time to debut the Lucha Bros?
After Bad Blood.
Probably
like the Raw or SmackDown after Bad Blood?
Either one. Doesn't matter which one. It should be with like a week or two after the fact.
I'm going to go out and say when Raw and SmackDown debut, when all this new stuff happens. So when SmackDown goes to 3 hours and Raw goes to Netflix and goes 3 hours, I think that's the perfect week. You're talking about them moving the show to 3 hours each, both of them. I know SmackDown, obviously, we're going to talk about it later on. It'll be temporary, and Raw's being 2 hours soon is temporary. But what better way to kick off Netflix than having debuts and SmackDown than having big debuts that you sign guys to? So the Lucha Bros, obviously, Motor City Machine Guns are coming sooner, but we're going to have all these different teams coming at one time. We don't want to sort of, I guess, take away the momentum from them. I would say that's the best way to put it. Because remember, if we're thinking about it, WWE's been on a little bit of a signing and re-signing spree, which we're going to get into later on.
Okay.
But
and then the last question.
Debuts, so I mean,
last question to ask you guys.
Sure.
Which brand would you want the Lucha Bros to be in? Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting. I'm thinking of the layers of tag teams you have on Raw and SmackDown. Honestly, in the beginning, I'd probably have them go the free agent route.
Have them choose week to week.
Have them sort of be on the brand, any of the brands, and see which brand they want to stick with and which brand they would fit better with. That way, you can introduce them to the audience, have more exposure on them, and then
I'm just excited. I'm just like once news broke that the Motor City Machine Guns and the Lucha Bros were WWE bound, I started cheesing because I was like, damn, like two top free agent tag teams on the market, and WWE secured both.
If this was like end of November, early December, I would agree with Henry with coming in with the new year. I just think it's too early to have them be like the main attraction to pop up. Meanwhile, you have more. The rumors are there are more people leaving certain companies, a la AEW, a la
Well, I
TNA.
I do like the stigma now that's gone, because remember WWE was always, oh, we're gonna get these muscle juice heads and these guys that are broad. Now they're getting rid of that stigma.
CrossFit era took over a lot when it came to people. The Seth Rollins, the Kevin Owens, the Cody Rhodes, I mean, Cody was in before, but a lot of the Gulf, the Gulf Force Wrestling,
Right.
the Roman Reigns, that when they first came out, like the 09, 010, the Big E's, those they're not 6'7", 270, 280, 300 pounds. You're on like, essentially normal, what they have to say normal size people, normal folk. I mean, Seth Rollins, you can't pick Seth Rollins out of a lineup, right?
So you're right. Like it's just crazy because we have so many debuts that haven't happened yet. And I'm just gonna throw the names out there before we move on. Think about it. We have Stephanie Vacker that still hasn't debuted yet. We have Delta. We have the Lucha Bros. We have Motor City Machine Guns. Who else really knows if WWE has signed anybody else? Obviously, we know Hikaleo is another name that's been signed for a while. Before we were talking about this when we done podcasts, we were talking about Jacob. There's so many names, and then there's names that WWE interested in.
There's a plethora of AEW superstars knocking on WWE.
We haven't spoken about like Cody's boy, Mr. Richard Starks.
We haven't. Ricky
Starks
Starks.
Been rumored to have been signed or unsigned for months now. We haven't heard from him.
It's rumored he's still with AEW, but that's his.
Is he though? You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen him in decades.
They might have added time for injury, unfortunately, but
having
there's a lot of Zila's rumored. There's so many names that are out there.
Having the Lucha Bros in WWE and seeing what the Lucha Bros did with AEW, they help AEW's tag team division stand out. It was eye popping, obviously with their in-ring abilities. So it's just, again, an exciting time because it's like you're bringing in two tag teams, to WWE, to NXT, and then now you have all these like new exciting matchups. And again, it's like fresh competition, right? It's fresh new feuds and stuff like that. So definitely looking forward to that.
Who's better, Machine Guns or Lucha Bros?
That's tough.
Nah. I need an answer, one or the other. I'm taking Machine Guns.
I think Motor City Machine Guns have more body of work, so I'm gonna go Motor City.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Motor City Machine Guns. But more exciting would be the Lucha Bros. But I think in terms of maybe like better, again, I'm just gonna go with body of work and what they've done individually in TNA throughout all these years. I'll lean towards Motor City Machine Guns. Now, again, I think that's pretty much an early question because it's like, all right, let's see what they do in WWE. And you know what's the exciting thing about these two tag teams? That all four individuals can have singles careers. Because we've seen Penta having Penta and Phoenix, their singles career in Lucha Underground, right? And a little bit in AEW. And then we've seen singles careers out of both Alex Shelley and Sabin in TNA, so it works. Like, I mean, I just hope like if the time comes and you break them up, I hope it's not too soon, but I wouldn't have a problem with it because all four of them can have amazing singles careers.
Yeah, I think that'll be further down the line, though, like you said, like sort of like how the Usos did. Now the Usos are Jay's a superstar basically. And Jimmy's injured, but I know we'll talk about Jimmy a little bit later. But
you
can go that route.
A couple of days ago, and it was announced on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee actually announced it. Sheamus signed a new WWE contract extension with the WWE.
5 years too is what they're
5 years, and he's 46 years old. I think. When it comes to Sheamus, body of work, he's been incredible. I think
Hall of Fame bound.
Yeah, absolutely. Future Hall of Fame. yeah, this is probably going to be his like last run. 46 years old, and then I think when it comes to Sheamus, I think there's only one more goal with him, and that's to be the Grand Slam champion. So I would say like within these 4 or 5 years, because it is a multi-year deal, he's definitely going to go after the IC title. I mean, we saw him go after it before against Gunther, but hey, it was against
arguably match of the year.
That's one of the better matches in a while.
Have you guys realized that all these re-signings for the vets, and not just like the 5-6 year vets, but the guys in there who like the long timers are getting max year deals? Reigns' deal was how long? John Cena's deal when he re-up was for how long? And now you see those who are at the end of those contracts. John Cena's done at the end of his contract. Sheamus is probably be done at 50, 51. He'll probably walk away and go into like a managerial spot or a agency spot.
Yeah.
You come to realize that a lot of these guys now they're
I don't know. I can see Sheamus being a trainer, honestly.
He can be a trainer too. A lot of wrestling, we can go through how many wrestlers got in long-term deals, man, until they fade away.
He's one of the harder hitters. So I think him being a trainer would be beneficial to the younger wrestlers because he could sort of teach them the art of, even if you hit hard, you could sell it and make it look, like golden. Because, a lot of times when you see a lot of some of the wrestlers hit, unfortunately, sometimes it sort of looks staged and everything like that. It looks fake.
Yeah.
You don't want it to come off like that. Sheamus is one of those that makes that
but
shit.
But take notice, a lot of people who are re-signing or just, getting extensions and whatnot are getting long-term year deals. Regardless of money, because money don't matter. But the long-term years that they're getting now, it's going to be, all right, well, this is going to be the last. Randy Orton, this is going to be his last contract. Sheamus now.
I don't know about Orton. Orton might be around for a little longer, but Sheamus has the back issue, so I could see.
The crazy part is Orton is what, 44, 45?
And he's going to be going to 50.
He's been there forever. And I think, I think he's still peak Orton, which is crazy to me.
Bro,
I think he's at the end of his peak. I think he'll be this. If the decline starts, it'll start sooner rather than later. But he's still been.
It's crazy. He's red hot for years. He gained muscle mass when he was out all that time.
Oh yeah,
and it was funny because
tree.
It was funny because they were like, when they announced him, he was like 295. He made a thing. He's like, I weigh more than 295. I was like, damn. I was like, dude, solid muscle, 300 pounds solid muscle. I was like, goddamn.
That's 6'4".
Yeah, I was like,
4,
shit.
6'5".
It's a true legend right there.
He said he had to build up his neck and his shoulders and make him and become more muscular in order to protect it, which is fine. He found a way to keep his career going. So shout out to him.
Yeah. From one legend to another, we also report that Ken Shamrock signed a WWE Legends contract. So this was actually confirmed when Ken Shamrock appeared on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, and he confirmed that he was under a Legends contract with the WWE. Which is cool because now you get to use Ken Shamrock in video games. I don't know if there's going to be merchandise. I like Ken Shamrock during the Attitude Era.
The world's
the first UFC guys that come over.
Dangerous.
So
I don't think he gets enough credit for for what he did in the yeah. I mean, step aside from like the UFC and what he did for the UFC because he also was a UFC legend, but what he did for WWE. The fact that again he was a former IC champion, a former tag champion, a former King of the Ring,
European champion too, I believe.
Oh yeah, good point. And then again all these big matches. When he feuded with the Undertaker, right during the Ministry and Corporation, angle. Had matches with Shawn Michaels, The Rock.
He's also one that stood true to his values. Like that interview, if anybody listened to it, and I would definitely recommend listening to it. It was a good interview.
Yeah,
he was talking about it, and he was saying that he didn't want to hit a woman and do like a angle where he fights.
Oh, the China feud.
Right. The China feud. He refused to do it, so he said that sort of hurt him, but he was okay with that. Because he wanted to teach his family that, so I respect him for that. Like,
and have you heard about the? I mean, this is a pretty well-known story about him and The Rock and how like he told The Rock to hit him as hard with the
Yeah,
with the
there
chair
has been
shot.
a full breakdown of the story, and then he finally broke it down. This is how this story panned out. Like that chair shot was an actual, like he's like, should I hit you? Hit me, you fucking bitch! And all of a sudden, bow, cracked him in the
Yeah,
face.
I mean, and like I
smacked
said,
his
it's a good
fucking nose.
interview for those who want to listen to it. I definitely recommend it. It broke down a lot of things, explained a lot of things well. So, but it's good to see the world's most dangerous man back with WWE.
Yeah, after so many years, I think after 20 plus years, because then during that time he was doing UFC.
We're gonna get a Hall of Fame induction at some point too for him too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since now they work with the UFC and TKO. They got so that's definitely he might get a dual Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. He might be one of the first to do it, which would be interesting. Which I would say that should be because he's one of the first ones to cross over and do that.
Right. And I think the big theme of this episode is going to be contract status, free agency. So one name for WWE that could possibly head towards free agency, or it looks that way, is Kevin Owens.
I don't know. I think that he's staying. I don't see him going.
I personally think he's staying, but again, you just never know. With
just like his comments he made about CM Punk, I feel like that's just all like future story.
Yeah, I think wrestling is too unpredictable.
He wouldn't say, first of all, he wouldn't say that out loud if he did like CM Punk. He would basically keep that in house, and that would be like
listen, just know that. All right, so according to Fightful, his contract is supposed to expire at the end of 2024, right? He has not signed a new deal. He's been approached. He's been approached with a new contract, but he has not signed yet. I think the whole interest of AEW, the fact that they got this, WBD deal and all this money, right, which we'll discuss in a bit. I think he might use that as leverage to rise up the price for his current contract. Because if I'm Tony Khan, I'm throwing the bag at Kevin Owens. Yes, Kevin Owens is 37, 38 years old, but he's still
another 5-year deal, big money.
Exactly.
Knowing what you may or may not be losing by next year.
Yeah, if I'm a free agent, and let's just say, for the sake of it, if I wanted to re-sign with WWE, but I wanted more money, I would kind of use this situation as leverage. Like, damn, all right, AEW just got $170 million in their new deal and blah blah blah, and I was like, they can actually do a big offer, and if I'm contemplating that, and WWE wants to match that, then I would just wait out my options. I personally think he's staying. Henry, I think you mentioned you believe he's staying. What about you? Do you think he's staying or he's leaving?
I don't see him leaving.
There's no reason to.
Yeah. It kind of seems to me like Kevin Owens is a what you call it, a WWE lifer. But we said the same thing about like Edge and other people, and
Well, if Edge got done wrong because of what he wanted to create control, they weren't giving him control of what he wanted to do, and he wanted the ability to do his own thing. Same with Christian. Christian felt the same. He's like, I want to do my own thing, and they wouldn't let me do my own thing, so I'm gonna go. And as we've seen in AEW, Christian Cage is a menace to society, what he's always wanted to do for the longest in WWE that he wouldn't let him do. AEW.
I think that was more Vince though than anything, but I'm not gonna get into that, but I feel like he could explore it. He could explore it, but I feel like I don't know. I know AEW has the new rights deal, the rumored one, what the money is. We're gonna talk about that later on, but I don't see him in AEW. I feel like there's more of a sinking ship than anything.
Soto, give a good argument to why Kevin Owens would leave. There's a million reasons why he would stay. Right, give me a good reason why he would leave.
So I think there were three reasons why he would leave. One, it would be kind of like to bet on himself, go, let's say, to AEW. And I think
the stock could be higher?
Huh?
You think his stock could be higher if you would have bet on himself?
And it possibly could be, but
I don't
my
think
thing,
he's been a champion.
but
in
my
WWE.
thing is like, I think he fits in with that roster, right? But I've said it a million times. I'm just worried about AEW's booking. But if done right, I think Kevin Owens could easily
All in the perfect situation. Everything you're naming is the perfect
So
situation.
I think he could be a main event guy in AEW.
Okay, that's one.
That's one. Two, he already has friends over there. He already has the Young Bucks, Adam Cole. So there's a lot of close relationships there. And three, it would be the money. I feel like we're at a point where AEW can really outbid WWE.
Can and will.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's a money situation, let's say.
But that model doesn't always sustain success. You think about it, you can outbid them, but there's only so much.
No, right. But I'm just saying, like, if for Kevin Owens it's a money thing, then yeah, chase the bag and go to AEW. But again, if you're happy with what you're doing and whatnot, then I would potentially say, listen, I don't think WWE has done Kevin Owens wrong. If you really look at it, Kevin Owens has been champion multiple times. He's headlined WrestleMania back to back, one with Stone Cold, one with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline and the Usos. So I mean, like, I think WWE has taken really good care of Kevin Owens. So.
Okay, that's fair enough.
He's a huge Triple H guy too, so I'm throwing that out there too. Okay,
yeah, Triple H is a big fan of him. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think.
I would say honestly, 1% chance. I'm gonna be 1% chance he leaves. I'm gonna be that one.
Throw the sliver in. Yeah, fucking why not?
I just don't see, like, I get AEW has the money, but with the rumor of their payroll exceeding $500 million for all the wrestlers they have. Like, how much you're talking about eventually signing all these guys? You're gonna have $1 billion payroll. You're gonna be bleeding money. We're talking about WCW 2.0 at some point.
As long as the Jaguars are making money, as long as Trevor Lawrence is playing for the Jaguars, Tony Khan will not have to worry.
But you only could, as a business owner, eventually you have to sort of think with your head. You can't be like, okay, I'm gonna keep spending all this money to get all these stars, and I'm not bringing in any money. At some point, it's gonna be like, why am I doing this? I need to sort of cut costs and find ways to make the money back. $500 million for
once they clip Chris Jericho, the money will be just fine. Don't worry about
it. They're not clipping Chris Jericho anytime soon. He just resigned, didn't he? Not for another.
I think he did.
He's not there. And what's it called? This guy, John Moxley, just resigned too. So yeah,
I get John Moxley. Chris Jericho should just come back to WWE, do your last year, and just go be a rock star for the rest of your career.
Bring the list back.
He's done enough. Yeah, he's done enough.
Now with on the next topic, with a health concern update, which will feature Jimmy Uso, which was actually kind of troubling. So we haven't seen Jimmy Uso since he got kicked out of the faction by Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga since April. I think it was like after Mania. But he was dealing with some injuries, and then this week, on what, like 4 days ago, Rikishi on Twitter or X mentioned a post saying, "Oh dear God, pray for strength and health to continue for Jimmy Uso. Stay prayed for my boy," which got a lot of people really, really concerned. It's like, all right, because the past couple of weeks we're gearing up for a Jimmy Uso return, and then Rikishi posts this, has a lot of people concerned. But just a quick update, Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful, he tweeted out saying, in following up with people in WWE, they say that they've spoken to Jimmy Uso, who says he's fine. I don't have any further contacts beyond that. And I mentioned how scary this situation is because it's very, in a way, similar to what happened with Bray Wyatt.
Right.
Bray Wyatt was gearing up for a return, and we're all, getting hyped. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, he passed away. And I'm not saying that Jimmy has the same, health concerns, but it's like similar into like, all right, here's two guys that were getting amped up that they're coming back, and then there's a health scare out of the blue.
I mean, it could be more of a setback. Maybe something happened, he got hurt again, or it could be there's so many possibility with that. Like we don't know what's really going on. It could be a work because everybody also says Rikishi likes to work everybody and say things like that to throw everybody off the scent. So there could be so many things. So like we don't really know. The best thing to say is we just hope that he's okay and that his health is
Rikishi
fine.
has been he's been tweeting a lot.
He's been getting himself into the mix for a long time.
He's been getting some
agree with
out
Henry
there
here because he also came out.
Yeah, because 2 weeks ago he wrote on what was it? He revealed.
He wrote on X as well.
No, he revealed on his podcast. Jimmy's doing fine. I think at any given moment, hopefully Jimmy will be ready to come back to be able to do what he loves. So, and
a month prior, he came out and said, "Stop! Don't put this Jey Uso Rhea Ripley angle. Leave his wife alone." And I'm like, well, his wife? When does his wife get involved with this? Like, he's been trying to put stuff into the mix for a long time.
Yeah.
He also went for the co-sign with Roman Reigns. He also went to Twitter and kept talking about the early bloodline before Solo took over, and then it came with my son Solo, and then
I'm not going to dismiss it. I think it could be a work, but I think there could be some validity to it too. So if anything,
I think he was really sick before. He had a fallback that wasn't that good that he bounced back from, but because it's so close to the chest that no one knows what's really going on, you wouldn't really other people's injury. Like Randy Orton, we've heard almost week-to-week basis what's going on. We've heard
Naomi would say something too.
Yeah,
we've heard it with Charlotte. If anybody gonna know what's going on with Jimmy,
it's Naomi.
It's Naomi, and she hasn't said nothing.
So obviously, if it was something serious, I think they would come out and say, "Well, yeah, he has this, he has that, he's dealing with this." I don't think they would keep something like that under wraps for the fans. Now, granted, I'm not saying maybe he got sick or something like that, and it was a scary moment for him. That could have possibly happened. But like again, it could be a work too because we know Rikishi likes to work too. So
I saw a random thread. I think it was on Twitter or it was on Reddit, and someone goes, "Oh, Jimmy, it's Bray Wyatt 2.0. Rikishi's telling the truth," and someone goes, "Brother, you do know Jimmy has a wife, right? That Jimmy goes to bed with somebody, so of course anybody's gonna know about their somebody. It's his wife because you don't understand. My father knows." And I was like, "Yeah, Jimmy's not 9. Jimmy's like 39. I think."
So does his wife. I mean, she would know. She would know better than anybody. So I mean,
she lives with him. Like, what are we doing? She fought Bailey. She was with Bailey last night on SmackDown. I think she went right back home. "Hey, honey, I'm back. Oh, how's how you? It's so simple. Makes no sense how people go crazy. Oh my God, Jimmy, no,
this is crazy. It's a crazy situation. Next we have WWE SmackDown, right? New logo, new theme, new everything.
Love every bit of it.
And it appears they're getting a new extra hour. So WWE SmackDown will run for 3 hours, or will be a 3-hour show. And I think this is probably going to be like a trial period because
6 months, they said.
Yeah, it's going to be for 6 months to see how well it does, and then it's going to go back to 2 hours. And then
supposedly that you never know, it could stay 3 if they decide.
I mean, if it's if ratings are high and it's successful, I don't see why not they wouldn't continue it. And then
if you're expanding the roster and you bring more people in, you need more time for everybody to get their run. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I feel like this is again, like Monday Night Raw. It's like
we're in a new era when it comes
to
50-50
to me. It's 50-50 to me because when you have a 2-hour show, you get to really, really focus on storytelling. When it's a 3-hour show, you just drag out the show and kind of like, there's stuff there's like, all right,
whatever. The writing would have to get writing has to get more concise.
Right. But since you're adding all these new roster, right? We mentioned the new additions, right? And we're getting new titles, which we'll mention in just a bit. I feel like then yes, it is a good idea because now you have more storylines where you can focus on. I think when you look at Monday Night Raw and their 3 hours, their primary story is the Judgment Day versus the Territory,
Everybody.
right? And Jey Uso. And when it comes to SmackDown, the
You mean
primary storyline.
Street Trash, right?
Oh, no. Even that saw the shirt that Finn Balor was wearing.
They
And
all
the primary,
And now they all have that.
yeah, the primary storyline in SmackDown is the Bloodline, right? But now, when you're incorporating new women's mid card titles, right? Which that was the report.
And not to like cut you off, it's those rumored titles are going to be the Women's United States Championship and the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I love it. I just hope that there's not. I just hope like they're unique and they're different from the men's. Again, like it makes sense. I love the whole fact that WWE is introducing the new women mid card titles.
Let me ask you both a question. And so speaking of mid card titles, and this will be real quick. Obviously, whenever they introduce the titles, the Intercontinental, obviously, if they change brands, obviously we know the US title right now is currently on SmackDown. Would you put the Intercontinental on SmackDown and the US on Raw, or would you keep it the same and have them both?
No, just keep it the same.
All right, and then the second question is, who could you see?
Chelsea Green.
Who could you see holding one of those championships?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green.
Yeah. Chelsea Green. I feel like Chelsea.
Which one though?
Whichever one. Take your pick.
So we have two. So we have Chelsea Green and who else?
I think. All right. So
Michin.
Michin is somebody. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to mention a couple of women wrestlers that would benefit from this. Michin will 100% be one of them. Chelsea Green, and I think Naomi. Let's start with those three. There's a whole bunch more, but I think
Naomi needs a major push. She's been doing it for a long time.
Right. I just think, and again, it's not that they're main event caliber wrestlers. It's just that, like, the main event scene for the women's division is so stacked that there's not
a mid-card title to break it up.
Exactly. And to be honest with you,
not saying that a person that's not. I'm not saying that they can't all win the big title, but having a mid-card title helps break that up, and then it can elevate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of people. So you see, a lot of people are like, and let's just take one for example. Let's take Chelsea Green. A lot of people, including myself, I'm like, oh, they need to push Chelsea Green. But then I understand that, okay, on the Raw side, you have Liv and Rhea Ripley, and then fighting for that championship. Where does Chelsea Green fit in right then and there? And then for SmackDown, you have this whole trio of Bayley, Naomi. Tiffany Stratton,
yes,
Nia, Naomi. It's crowded there. So again, it's we're not seeing at all that. Oh yeah, they're not.
And don't forget too, Monday Night Raw also has a name too that's currently on hiatus, hasn't resigned, but will resign at some point. And don't forget, Becky Lynch will be right in that picture.
Exactly,
comes back. So don't it's crowded. And then don't forget, you got Bianca Belair, you got Jade Cargill, you have a loaded SmackDown side, and then even Raw.
I think Jade gets one belt, but I think that when you're whoever, so if it's Chelsea Green, I think Jade gets the first belt, and Chelsea Green's going to take it. And I'm just saying, just for for argument's sake, you got to put somebody over who you want to have the belt. You can give anybody the belt for whatever.
Well, they're all in on Jade, so I would see.
Yeah, Jade. And then whoever you want, like who's earned it the most. So the Chelsea Green, then you push a few that way.
And then depending on how well of a run you have with these mid card titles, you're going to get rewarded to the bigger title, right? Just take Gunther for example. Just the fact that he elevated that IC title, and look at him now. He's world
heavyweight champion. The IC title was the best belt in WWE in 2024.
Now Braun Breaker has it, and Breaker's going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of the reality is that the WWE females roster is currently stacked, right? And it's just like you can't have everyone as champion, right? So again, this creates more opportunities for the rest of the division, and I'm all for it.
You need competition in the women's division. As good as the division is, you need the actual belts to show. So you have four belts to compete. It makes perfect sense.
And let's not forget, at some point, the NXT women's stars they have, because NXT women's division is elite. Let's not forget some of those women will be coming up soon. So
Yeah.
let's not forget we got Julia, Roxanne. Just to name a few, Stephanie Backer.
Yeah.
It's that women's division is
It's loaded. It's loaded.
AEW is loaded.
It's the reality.
It's loaded.
It's the reality. Let's go on some AEW news. Some good, some bad.
No. Yeah, you gotta say it correctly.
Okay, some
In
good.
The land of all elite.
Some good, mostly bad.
Just start off with the bad. How about that? Let's get to the bad first.
Now let's get into it.
Let's get into the bad first.
There's been a lot of criticism regarding the way Will Ospreay and Ricochet is being booked too early. A lot of people like what like there's no build up. There is a story, but there's just lack of build up, and damn, you're really rushing to this.
AEW, you don't really understand that.
Yeah. Do you believe this matchup is being booked or too early?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a fantasy booking, yes. No,
it is a fantasy booking that they're running. They're running it back.
There's history there, obviously, but
right.
A lot of wrestling people that are just tuning into AEW or just fans, they're not going to really. I'm gonna be honest with you, they're not going to really give a shit about the history. Unfortunately, to say, not like us that we sort of study it, and other wrestling podcasts and fans study it. New wrestling fans are not going to give a shit. They're going to be like, okay, where's the storytelling? Where's this? Where's that? Where's the buildup? And that's been your criticism of AEW, my criticism of AEW, and I'm pretty sure it's probably B's criticism as well. So again, like for me, I'm going to say,
but who knows? Maybe there is a secret agenda to this match.
I hope so.
With Will Ospreay, right? With Will Ospreay having some sort of, I guess, connection to the Don Callis family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a faction, and then Ricochet all by himself.
I love how you said it so just passive, like that's a faction.
And there's a free agent faction. And years ago, Ricochet was rumored to join this certain faction, and if they happen to join AEW, aka the Hurt Business, or they'll have a new name.
I forget they trademarked something to Hurt something. I forget what it was.
Yeah, that's something to bring in. That's something that to keep an eye on, because I feel like, all right, Will Ospreay again with the Don Callis family, even though it's been on and off their relationship, but Ricochet, who needs some sort of spark, you kind of team him with MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. If AEW were to secure them, I think that would be pretty cool. But the whole fact is, yes, I do think this matchup, it is a fantasy booking matchup, but it's just been booked too early. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the match, but I just think
if the goal is to make this a long-term story, they're on the right track. If you want to plan a one-time absolute 5-star match,
by the way, the Hurt Syndicate was the rumored new name, the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh, okay.
That sounds better than Her Business. But if you want a one-time, a one-off banger, this was not the right time to do it. But if you're playing them to fight, team up, somebody turn on somebody, then it's a smart idea. Yeah. But we've seen it happen in AEW, and they start off really, really well, and then it falls flat. The only time they got it right, that they're getting it right, is Hangman and Strickland. And this is what, 2.5 years of this build from the very beginning. So you took this. That's the only one that's worked out of all your long-term story building. So if you're gonna try and build it the way you built it with Ospreay and Strickland, and put it with Ricochet and Ospreay, then good luck.
Yeah. All right. So there's going to be a trend of contract statuses. All right. So let's start. Let's start with Miro requesting his release from AEW. So
we knew that was happening. He's been said it for months that he was unhappy there. and
But
it's
yeah,
I don't know why it took so long.
Yeah, I mean, no. So we knew that he was
contract, you don't want
unhappy.
to pay no more money. The contract's up. He's all right. Goodbye.
But yeah, no. According to
Didn't he
Fightful,
just resign too?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Not that
I
long.
mean,
ago.
he was in his contract to resign.
But so he had like a lucrative contract.
Right.
So it was like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like a 7-figure deal all the way to like 2026.
Rusev Day's coming back on the Indies.
So, well, I mean, if AEW decides to, I think if AEW decides to grant his release, he could very well be back in WWE. But we haven't seen Miro since the World's End pay-per-view in 2023, and yes, he has been dealing with some injuries, but at the same time, one of the biggest obstacles between Miro and AEW has been creative differences. So I mean, that's pretty much it. To obviously to make it simple, like, he hasn't been happy with his time there and how he's been treated, and it sucks, right? Because at the time when Miro joined AEW, that was a huge free agent signing that, again, simply just didn't pan out.
It is what it is.
So now he is requesting his release.
You mean, just like Andrade, or who else? Keith Lee.
Keith Lee's
or Malachi Black, or Ethan Page,
Adam Cole,
or Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh my God, the list goes.
Don't get me started, bro.
that should just be an episode on itself. Listen, like the superstars that Tony Khan has mismanaged.
I'm gonna say this. Tony Khan probably don't listen to us, and he probably don't give a shit, which is fine. But he should. And I will say this: that they need to find ways to keep stars and establish stars. I get they had the pillars of AEW bullshit that they had, but then you build that up, and it's just like, what did you do with it?
Real quick, and not to cut you off, we're not saying like that WWE has never mismanaged superstars, but there was all of this crazy talk that he's gonna kill it when he goes to AEW, and AEW is gonna push him to the moon. Fans,
no,
fans
for who?
For like these free agents that move from WWE to and here we are in 2024 at 12:54 talking about this, like. Yeah,
and WWE's followed the bag. We know the Hurt Business is one that they could have really expanded.
That's probably the only one. If we could be quite honest, probably the one thing. If you could ask Triple H, if you could fix one thing, said I'd bring back the Hurt Business. You could have had him as a free agent type of role.
I would say Malachi Black too. I mean, he was Aleister Black. I mean, that was they messed him up.
I would have
that's a subtle jab right there.
I would have an hour episode on that.
No, I'm just saying.
I think Aleister Black was a price to pay because of Vince, but in the new era with it going on, the Triple H,
the new era is better.
I would have either.
Shut up! You're sweating. Relax.
I would have a 1 hour. No,
it's okay.
No, I would have a 1 hour podcast episode on that, or at least a 20-page slide PowerPoint presentation.
Oh wow! You know what, Soto? I challenge you. I want a 15-page. I want a 15-page thesis of what happened to Aleister Black.
But look,
who is Aleister Black?
The best way before we move on, we knew Miro was coming. Obviously, both companies have fumbled.
Henry, we don't care about Miro. We care about Aleister Black right now.
WWE in recent trend, besides the Hurt Business, has not really been fumbling wrestlers. But before that, yes, they were. AEW has been fumbling for a while.
Well, let's continue on that fumbling trend with with Ricky Starks. Another one
going to be on SmackDown with Cody Rhodes in the next couple weeks.
It's only a matter of time till he's WWE bound. Like, how do you fumble Ricky Starks?
You made Ricky Starks.
Yeah, the last thing we heard about Ricky Starks was that he is not a free agent and that he's still under AEW contract.
Yep,
and
that's the last we heard. Yep, I agree.
And that's it. They just haven't used him because there's no creative direction for him. He just hasn't been used, right?
He's gone. You know what it reminds me? You know what this reminds me of? Especially out of anybody Ricky Starks? What's the
He
what's
said
the
it in
Stephen Toy story? And he's like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And he drops the That's what AEW did to Ricky Starks.
Okay.
Yeah, but then again, like it makes no sense because they granted obviously the Lucha Bros their release and let them go to WWE because they had significant time. Why is he being a dick towards Ricky Starks? It makes no sense.
Wait, come on. But this doesn't even end.
Okay.
Where the hell is Warlow?
Didn't he trademark his own name?
Where
so he could go to WWE or wherever he wants to go?
We have not seen Warlow since he fought Samoa Joe at Dynamite Big Business.
Guess what?
When was that?
That was like in February, I think. If I'm
Undisputed Kingdom has been fucking fumbled.
First of all, Undisputed Kingdom, which I was a huge supporter for, I was just like, no, because all right, you know what? Because my favorite faction, probably in this top 3, was the Undisputed Era. So then I was like, all right, with the Undisputed Kingdom, I could give it a shot, definitely 100%. But you know what? They fumbled that too, terribly.
Yeah. I told you, bro.
Terribly. It had so much potential, and they just I don't know. Dust came out.
Wardlow got taken out of Undisputed Kingdom somehow, somewhere.
Exactly. And then, so again, according now, and take it for what you want. According to Dave Meltzer, he said, for those asking about Wardlow, he was shown at the Jaguars game. He's just one of those guys who's not being used. So that's another guy you fumbled.
Oh, come on, Soto. I got what else? Come on, you're sweating. You're hot. You're red hot, baby. Come on, what you got?
Okay, all right, fine. You know who they're about to fumble? Daniel Garcia.
Who's in the feud right now?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Apparently nothing.
I mean, all right. So
PM on the 21st of September, Soto snaps.
12:58. I'll send you my electronic signature.
It's not even that. It just makes no sense. Like the shit that they're doing. It's just stupid.
And that's the thing. Listen, all right. Now we know with Daniel Garcia, the whole, I guess, the dancing gimmick and whatnot. But aside from that, he is a very good wrestler, a very good technical wrestler.
Dancing gimmick was actually hilarious, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah. And he's young, right? He's young, and now you have this report where, basically, that WWE is salivating to sign him if he does become a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
And one must consider, or Daniel Garcia must consider, damn, yes, AEW gave me this opportunity, but look at the people who've transitioned from AEW to WWE. Their stock value just has risen tremendously.
Yeah.
So again, Daniel Garcia just had a feud with MJF, but again, he becomes a free agent at the end of October and has not signed a new deal with AEW. So
will arrive at the Royal Rumble in 2025.
I don't know. I think when it comes to Daniel Garcia, I think he would be a perfect fit with NXT.
He'd probably go to NXT. I can see him introduced to the fan base. Yeah.
But
imagine him versus Ethan Page.
Exactly. I was going to mention Ethan Page. I was like, look at the star that NXT created with Ethan Page. When he signed with AEW, Ethan Page at that time, it was a big deal. It was like, oh wow, all right, Ethan Page solo career, but they didn't do anything. That's another name that AEW fumbled. There's a lot of fumbles, but.
Are we doing the regular fumbles or the butt fumbles?
No, that was a butt fumble. But but look at the way he's been using NXT. I just think it's just crazy to me.
I hate the butt fumble, but we had to use it for every joke.
You have any more?
And then Tony Khan has the audacity to say that they have the greatest roster ever. You know
on paper, you damn right, but on paper means absolutely nothing.
No, you're right. On paper, all right. I'm not gonna say yes or no. Let's just say,
damn,
they probably have an argument, right? The greatest roster ever, but it means absolutely nothing
if you can't put it to work.
Exactly. If you have all these or the people booking the shows and whatnot. No, like it means absolutely nothing. Yes,
You mean he books the show?
I think when it comes to wrestling, I think AEW creates great, amazing wrestling matches. When it comes to character development, they absolutely suck. They're absolutely trash. When it comes to character development,
when it comes to having a real issue, is a legitimate problem. What happened? Well, how many years ago it was? Call it 2016 or 2017. Remember, it was a good, wholesome debate, a good conversation about NXT having a better show than WWE. This is one show compared to two for a long time. It was Sasha and Bayley, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Just to start, just those four off the top, just matches and all together. And you go down the list, Becky, Charlotte, everybody lined up in NXT who was absolutely killing it. Pound for pound, match for match, they were killing WWE. And it was a real problem. And you know what Vince did? All right, we gotta fix this. Let's bring them all up. And NXT was still putting out better stuff after Vince wiped out the entire roster.
There was a time where the NXT Black and Gold era was untouchable, was simply untouchable. And then once
led by one man,
one man, the one who's running the company right now, and then once Vince touched NXT Black and Gold, it was done for. But I'm just saying,
the backpack the entire show. Now it's Adam Cole. He was a god in NXT, and then he goes for the money. And Henry? How's Adam Cole now?
Well, he also left WWE because Vince McMahon wanted to make him a manager. They didn't want him to wrestle.
No, I hear that. That's a manager. But while he was there, he was a god amongst gods.
Oh yeah,
and he goes to AEW. So you tell me, give me the breakdown. What happened? Let me get a pen and paper out. What happened?
Absolutely.
I think I'll put it this way. I think
absolutely nothing.
Zero.
I think if Triple H was running the show back then, I honestly think that the Undisputed Era. Let me start with them. I think they could have been one of the great. I think they're the greatest NXT faction. I think they could have been one of the greatest factions of all time on the main roster. Like they could have been up there with like Evolution. Yeah. I honestly believe that.
That's a hot take.
They were goated. They were goated in NXT. I'm not.
Yeah, they were simply like flawless in NXT. But when Tony Khan says, "Yeah, we have the greatest roster ever," it's like, all right, you can make that argument, but again, look at the names that you're fumbling. All young and have potential. Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Miro, Daniel Garcia, and more to come. Keith Lee.
Who?
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. To me, it's just crazy.
I was such a big fan of Keith Lee, and guess what? He got fumbled in WWE. He got fumbled in NXT.
Well, he got fumbled in WWE because of Vince.
Vince fumbled him. Fumbled him.
Guess what?
Not Triple H.
Fumbled him too. It's like, what? Hey, listen. Enjoy teammate that he
hold on. What did Vince want to call him? What was his new name? Bearcat.
Bearcat Keith Lee.
That shit is that. You fucking bum. And they put and you know what the best part is? This is put on a documentary. I cannot wait for the roster to see this, and you see the tweets flowing about all the wrestlers who didn't like Vince. They're going to tee off on Vince every episode on Netflix.
Good. They fucking should. Good.
Yeah.
And then the last two topics we have on tonight's show. Damn.
Tonight is 1:00 in the afternoon.
Oh my God, it's 1:00. Jesus.
Soto said tonight.
Let's go. So it's time for bed. Soto. Time for that nap.
It's one of those, yeah. All right.
Soto wasn't a passionate take, so it was all good.
Yeah.
Soto's out of gas.
In today's show, Zila Fatu sudden departure from GCW. So
he will be at Bad Blood.
Yeah, we don't know. Zila Fatu is apparently done. Huh?
Hikaleo?
I don't know. But Zilla Fatu is apparently done with Game Changer Wrestling. And yeah, he will not be appearing. He was scheduled to appear at the September 20th event, but now he won't be appearing at that event or any other GCW shows for the foreseeable future. And it's crazy because when stuff like this happens, it's because they probably have other commitments, or maybe a serious situation happened here. But
why is that he's leaving GCW and Armando Estrada on the 16th of September has signed a 5-year Nostalgia Legends deal for WWE? Bad blood, baby. I'm telling you, I'm calling it.
I like it. And you know what? With Armando Estrada signing a Legends deal with WWE, he could
so fitting.
He could be. You can pair him up with Zilla.
I wish I could roll my R's because I would do his. How he used to say his
Armando Estrada.
Armando.
Alejandro.
So
Estrada. Remember he used to do that.
So I feel like yes. All right. Let's just hypothetically say that Zilla Fatu is WWE bound, which I think will happen. You can pair him up with Armando. It would be great. Since his father Umaga, they were paired up in the 2000s, and you can pair them up, or you can have Armando Estrada as the Paul Heyman as the wise man of the new bloodline.
What if we get Armando Estrada and then out of nowhere here comes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
I'm gonna give a hot take because everybody seems to say Hikuleo is gonna join the new bloodline with his brothers. I feel like he's gonna join up with Roman.
That's cool. That's perfectly fine.
And he's gonna go against his brothers, and Zilla will join with the new bloodline. I feel like that.
I'd rather have. Okay. I see what you did there. I don't hate it, even though I would prefer Zilla to be with Roman. But if you're gonna pair Armando with Zilla, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the very last topic on today's episode would be Jeff Hardy's nice tribute to Bray Wyatt.
Bring Jeff back to WWE.
I honestly thought the face paint was amazing.
It was on point.
Yeah, it was a beautiful homage to Bray Wyatt, especially the Fiend character. It was definitely on point. But and it's crazy because Jeff Hardy and Bray Wyatt never had like a storyline. I mean, they've had like backstage segments, right? Because of Bray Wyatt's partnership with Broken Matt Hardy, but just the fact that a nice homage to Bray Wyatt was done. With Jeff sporting the Fiend face band, that was pretty cool to me.
It goes to show you how much he was loved and appreciated in the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice to see. That's one thing I will say, and I'm glad that he did it. I'm glad again Bray Wyatt's legacy still lives on, obviously with White Sixes, and people still paying homage to him. So it's a great thing to see, and I hope it honestly continues for good. He was such a brilliant mind, and again, I still remember the episode when we did it. It was a tragic thing, but I did read that there are plans. They are thinking about offering his wife JoJo a job with them again. So that would be nice to see her come back to WWE as a full circle too. I hope that does happen because I'm sure she was a good ring announcer. And for those who don't know, who JoJo Offerman's dad was, right? Jose Offerman, baseball player.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, and that dude was no nonsense when he played. I remember him.
Guys, I'm excited. I'm excited for the
WWE is in a good spot. Wrestling is in a great spot. We say it a lot, but WWE.
I feel like spot. Again, we're not when we're talking so highly of WWE. It's because
and shitting on AEW.
It's because I feel I'm not going to talk for everyone. I feel like they're approaching. I think Triple H is approaching wrestling the right way. The fact that you know, he's bringing in all these high talented superstars to the company. Plus, he's kind of giving us flashes of the past, bringing back Saturday Night, you know, main event, and all these old pay-per-view names.
Can we say that these backstage segments have been A1? The one with Ron and Bronson was.
Yeah, no, and if you continue to do promos like the one that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes did on WWE SmackDown, which I'm reading on here on Twitter that Paul Heyman personally directed that segment.
Yeah,
it just shows you the creativity, the you know, of WWE. Now, when it comes to AEW, I think, you know, again, AEW, when it comes to in-ring, they're on a high level. Like I love their matches. It's just a matter of booking and character development.
Tony Khan needs to loosen the reins and get him some help. I think that'll better help with things. Honestly, that's my best. That's my best suggestion.
For me, real quick before we end, it's just one of those things when booking, right? So the whole thing where you have Bryan Danielson about to feud with Darby Allin, and then in comes Moxley, and in comes Nigel McGuinness, and it's just like, all right, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things that's like, all right, I thought it's going to be a one-on-one, and then just different parties are entering this feud, and it's like, all right, whatever. But again, I think AEW still has time to turn it around. Listen, at one point I did say, you know, long ago when AEW was the hottest thing ever, I was like, WWE's in trouble. And
a year later, it all changed.
And I'll continue to say this: AEW's worst nightmare was when Vince stepped down and Triple H took control.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
From that point on, it was just like, and I think the whole thing that started that shift was Cody Rhodes' jump from AEW to WWE,
because he left in the first place to go to AEW. He's like, oh, now it's time to go back.
Yeah, since then it's just been.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. Again, if you know, if they get their creative and bookings in order, I have no doubt that AEW could turn it around. But it's just, yeah, they got to fix some of those things.
I agree.
So leave your job and be an AEW writer.
How much is my salary?
I don't know. If Rusev got 10 mil, I'm sure you can get like, you know, 800K.
That's how much you got?
I don't know. You said 7 figures.
Damn. Well, no, 7 figures would be.
I'm just saying 8, 9.
He probably got
10 mil.
He probably got like $3 or $4 million.
3 or 4, but lucrative deal. That's more.
Damn, a lucrative deal all the way to 2026.
It could have been like 10 mil.
He's just getting paid to stay home.
Yeah, you do the same shit and just write.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know, if Vince had people from the Maury show write his shows, then I'm sure Khan could do a lot better. Or a lot worse based on how you want to go about it.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Again, we're not experts or anything. We express how we feel and how
we're just as good as everybody else at AEW. Let's not sugarcoat this shit. I guarantee if Khan gave you, me, and Henry 3 months, we could turn it around and make it really good within 3 months.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool. That's it. That being said, that'll do it for us in this episode of the Sunset.
It won't be easy, but I think it's doable.
See, that's the idea. Henry's got a black.
You know what? You don't have to give me AEW. You don't have to give me AEW. I'll start from the ground up. I'll start with Ring of Honor.
So you don't want to do AEW Ring of Honor?
I'll stick with Ring of Honor, right?
Oh,
and just build. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right? What is Ring of Honor?
It's a shame. It's a shame what they did with Ring of Honor.
Anyway, that's another podcast. We're gonna wrap up here. So let's
so does sweating, bro. So's actually genuinely mad.
Soda's gonna go on another rant.
So's mad about the fumblings. He's mad about Ring of Honor. The
So
biggest fumble out of all of them.
Let's wrap until our next episode.
Love you, Sal. He's so mad. That'll do it for this episode of the Sunset Foot Wrestling Podcast. Appreciate you again tuning in week in and week out. You want to check us out? We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we're on IG, we're on IG Threads. You name it, we're on it. If you want to check us out on the audios, we are live on YouTube and Twitter. Wherever you want to, we are there. If you want to hear the audios, you want to hear all wonderful voices and Soto crashing out on set. You know, we got the Apple, the Spotify, the Google Podcasts. We are on everywhere but Westwood One, and we will be there soon. As soon as we get Ring of Honor back on the board. Right, Soto?
Yeah.
Absolutely right. All right. Until next week, fellas.
Later, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in.